The scene from the previous chapter continues. Gwiyoung made the attack fail and smashed the wooden bat with his bare hands. The members of the attacker and he himself are shocked at Gwiyoung's action. Their expressions are full of shock as they have treated him just as a young child who is an easy catch. Gwiyoung, with a broken wooden bat in his hand, says to them that it is just a rotten branch. Although it looks flashy in reality, it doesn't have any prominent impact. He further says to them they shouldn't have come up with such a lofty weapon after coming up with such a brilliant idea. The attacker is still in surprise when one of them asks them what are they waiting for and beats him up. The scene is shifted to the participants who are running towards the mountain. They are observed by a man standing on the rock where he can easily see them fulfilling the mission. While the man is observing the running participants, Lee Soon-mong appears on the scene. He calls out to the man, "Have you also come, General Choi?" Here we know that the man standing and observing the participants is none other than General Choi Yundeok, who is indirectly addressed many times earlier in the chapters. Identifying Lee Sung-mong, he says that you also come here. Choi Yundeok, upon standing by Lee Sung-mong right next to him, says to him why he is standing right next to him, go and stand there. Lee Sung-mong, being a man of his mood, totally ignored his comment and says while looking at the running participants that a lot of crowd has been gathered. To his remark, General Choi replies that there is no choice. If it goes well, not only they can easily finish their military training in the blink of an eye, but they can even get a chance for Myocheon, a system where one can escape being a low-class citizen, where they will not worry about hiding their identity. Lee Sung-mong says that the conditions made by the king are quite unmatched, to which General Choi responds that this shows how he is serious about establishing informers this time. Lee Sang-mong, while looking for Gwiyoung in the crowd, says, "Let's see how our little Gwiyoung comes." While pointing out one as he might be, he says that is he him, but denies that no is not that one. General Choi asks him questions relating to Gwiyoung, as he says you are talking about that Gwiyoung to whom the king personally gave the jade plaque last winter? And he further says that he is fully sure that those with jade plaques are gathered somewhere else, right? Lee Sung-mong is seen fully enjoying watching the participants as he replies to Choi that although it is true, but due to some circumstances, he has to take part in the test himself. Hearing this from Lee Sung-mong, General Choi says that from the very start, he found that giving a jade plaque to such a child is ridiculous stuff. He keeps saying that informers are the most elite intelligence unit operating in this northern region, and he is fully aware of the circumstances that have happened to that unfortunate child. And jade plaque is a privilege that is personally bestowed upon by the king to dispatch the forces. Even if he is dispatched, still he is a child. Does he even have the right to have the jade plaque? After listening to General Choi's assumptions related to Gwiyoung, he replies to him that although Gwiyoung is a child, he is exceptional in talent and physical ability, and however those are the areas that he highly rates. He continues his statement by further saying that beginning at the mere age of 12, he has been raiding the sites and has killed barbarians, and the most interesting fact is that he has been able to survive till now. Lee Sung-mong asks General Choi that doesn't he himself knows that what is more effective while also being important to swordsmen is the actual battle experience. And if you add natural talent on top of that, then do you think isn't he quite literally a heaven-sent talent? The scene again shifts to Gwiyoung, who is fighting with the attackers. He plucks the eyes of one of them, and the other one comes holding that branch and attacks Gwiyoung's face with that. But that doesn't do anything to Gwiyoung's face. Instead, that branch broke into smashes, shocking the attacker. On his action, Gwiyoung replies that doesn't he have told you earlier that it is just a rotten branch that looks flashy, but it doesn't make much impact, feeling dizzy. One of the attackers said to his member that hitting him as hard as this is making an impact. But as he again tries to attack, he falls down on the ground with a bombastic punch from Gwiyoung, shocking others with his act. He says to them, though he accepts that rotten branches can hurt as much as they look flashy, I admit that they can be used as weapons. Then, instead of needing to be hit multiple times to lose consciousness, just once can also do the same. Assuming what Gwiyoung is going to do, the attacker said, getting afraid of his comments, said that he had taken what he had said before, and what he meant to say was that those who would get the arrows will be 2 of them, okay? Gwiyoung patiently replies to him, well, is that necessary? Ajushi, if we look at it according to your logic, it will be over if I am the only one to pass, isn't it? The attacker, getting penetrated by the situation, trying to agree with his point, says, foolish child, no matter how incredible you are, do you think you can handle the rest of them alone? It will be only possible if it will be both of us. Showing his muscles to Gwiyoung says that aren't they are trustworthy? And further says to him, trying to butter him, that he is not an ajushi, he is just 18. He continues his conservations and says to him that although you are strong, you lack resourcefulness as a child and need a tactician. What is your name? Gwiyoung replies to him that he is called Gwiyoung. Hearing his name, he says that it looks like he has heard this name. Forget that it is a good name, as I have has dream of such a development. He puts his hand in front of him and says to Gwiyoung, be his associate. They both made the deal. The attacker is also one of the participants in the selection of royal forces. The attacker named Dumok is sitting on the upper branches of the tree trying to see the arrival of the returning of the others from the mountain. Gwiyoung asks him what the situation of the surroundings is. Dumok replies to him that there is not a single rat in sight. Gwiyoung says that's strange, as it is well past the time when the ones who have reached the top of the mountain first should be returning by now already. He asks Dumok what they should do now, to which he responds that something must have happened at the top, and we won't be fully sure until we go to the top by ourselves. Agreeing with Dumok's view, Gwiyoung says that indeed he is right. Dumok, while sliding down from the tree, says that it will be a good idea to reach the top of the mountain before the sun sets, so they should hurry, and before he says anything more, he sees that Gwiyoung has already started running. Seeing him running, he says to himself, go you ignorant punk, my all plans go to smoke, because I met someone weird. Not seeing Dumok after him, Gwiyoung pronounces his name, asking him to hurry and come with him. Dumok asks him that he should also. To his question, he responds that indeed, or is he not coming with him? As he said himself, they should be associates. Dumok says irritably that he is a punk, he doesn't really get him, and wonders how he gets that strong at this young age. But it is a relief that he seems a bit dull. He is still a naive greenhorn. His thoughts are that if he can use him, well, he will be proven as a good weapon in the test in the near future. They reached the top and saw the red feathered arrows inserted in the trunk of the tree. Gwiyoung says to Dumok that they have reached the top after seeing arrows. But Dumok, being fully tired, says, full of anger to him, that he says that they should rest before, as they continue, you fool. As they reach the top, the proctor says to them that they are late, and are they the only two last ones? And asks them what dirty tricks they have played on the ground which has made them climb it that late. Dumok says to Gwiyoung that there is a proctor too on the top. What is such chaos here after they see everyone on the ground? The proctor further asks, do they even know what this is to be acting this welcoming? Gwiyoung sees the jade plaque hanging attached to the belt of the proctor. He says while looking at the plaque that he also has the one, but he has lost that, and because of losing him, he going through such trouble. Hearing Gwiyoung talking about jade plaque, the proctor stands up and starts making movements towards him, and says there have been rumors revolving around that there is some ignorant rat in the examinees being an egoist going around, has been talking jade plaque and assumes that is him. He continues speaking and further says that although he doesn't know how he got to know about the existence of the jade plaque, or he is just talking foolish, actually knows about what it means to possess the jade plaque. This jade plaque means that one has been acknowledged by the king to be able his swordsman, and this means that this is not just an item that a lowly and crude someone like him can dare to speak of. Hearing the proctor's opinion about Gwiyoung, he was going to answer him, but was interrupted by Dumok as he says to the proctor that his words are harsh. Seeing his pompous figure, it seems like he is from Yongbin family, and he doesn't know why he is acting like a proctor in a place like this. But of what he's sure that he knows that this test has this special condition that they will not be checking one's status. And saying lowly and crudely what he is pointing at, isn't it already enough that he is strong? Proctor throws two swords towards them and says to them in a challenging tone that they pick them and come towards him at the same time attacking him, and they can get an arrow if they get acknowledged by him. Dumok picks up the sword and stops Gwiyoung from coming, saying that this type of opportunity doesn't come always. He runs towards the proctor with swords in his hand, saying that it is a lifetime opportunity to punish a Yongbin bastard without having words. He attacks the proctor. He only protects himself. He keeps on stroking his sword and pushing him backward through his strikes. He says to the proctor how it feels the swordsmanship of a crude bastard like him. Because they Yongbin are brought up preciously, they haven't any muscles. He says to the proctor that he will put his knee on the ground and keep on attacking with his full might. But as he was just focusing on striking, Proctor came at the back of Dumok and struck a stroke at the back of him, and another one at the bottom of the legs. Dumok starts screaming with pain. As the proctor now starts attacking, he says to him that he hasn't any solid expectations from the very start, and if he has a lowly origin, then at least have a decent character. If his character is lowly, then at least humble him. If his skills are crude, then at least be careful. As the proctor was going to strike him to the ground with the last stroke, full of might, Gwiyoung comes in between and pulls Dumok out of the going battle. He says to the proctor that this is enough and harsh, and what is this royal force selection about, and asks him does he really intended to kill him. Instead of answering Gwiyoung's question, he puts his hand on his hand and throws him on the ground, and says to him that amongst fellow people of Joseon, he has already told him that if his skills are crude, then at least be careful, going to attacking him with his sword. But as he pulls out his sword, his hands was empty. He looks at his hands that were empty. Gwiyoung asks him while holding his sword in his hands, is this what he is looking for? Proctor gets shocked after seeing the sword in his hands and tries to remember, when did he got that? Dumok says to the proctor, although he looks lousy, his skills are not crude at all.